Ma'am, you can start. We are live.
Hello and welcome to our fourth episode on Destination India. It gives us immense pleasure to share with you that after a successful series on the North, the West, as well as the Eastern region, it is now time to showcase the incredible central part of our country. We have received a lot of appreciation on these series, and we hope that today's session will be equally engaging for all of you. Our evening is also graced by our esteemed panelists. We have with us Ms. Sonia Meena. She's the Assistant Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board. Mr. Gaurav Rege, he's the General Manager for Jahanuma Hotels. And Mr. Ramakrishnan Kongala, he's the Assistant Professor from Indian Institute of Travel and Tourism Management. I welcome them all this evening. Before we carry on with the evening, I would like to mention that the Digital Traveler Series is a joint initiative of India City Walks and South Asian Travel Awards, popularly known as SATA. Before we begin, here's a quick introduction about India City Walks. Recipients of various awards, both nationally and internationally, we deliver best immersive city experiences and share stories of sustainability, social impact, cultural knowledge in India. Our mission is to take Indian tourism synergies on a platform from where it attracts maximum interest through the exciting variety of culture and the nuances of diverse themes. We have been curating tours, experiences, walks, and specialty sessions for the wide audience across the globe. I now request Mr. Sharmin, my co-host, Director of Communications, to introduce SATA.
Hi. First of all, thank you all the panel members for being a part of the Digital Travel Edition, and I would like to thank all our viewers online who is watching this from every corner of the world. Just to give you a brief outline of SATA, the South Asian Travel Awards has been recognizing the best of South Asia's hospitality and travel industry since 2016. The prestigious annual event honors stellar organizations and individuals in wide array of categories. The first edition of South Asian Travel Awards began in 2016 and has been organized since with the support of various multiple associations and tourism bodies of South Asian region. We are proud to have partnered with India City Walks for the digital travel editions, and we look forward for more events in the future as well. Maybe.
Thank you, Shaman. Similar to our last session, this session also has two segments. The first segment begins with a very brief orientation on India, followed by a presentation on the central India, covering some of its most prominent states, cities, and their experiences. Our second segment covers the question and answer session with our distinguished panelists. As we keep mentioning, India is a diverse country, and Indians take pride in unity in diversity. Let us begin our session with a glimpse of India's diversity. History, heritage, culture, tradition, scenic beauty, geographical diversity. Our country has it all. A land of multilingual, multicultural, and heterogeneous population. We do not cease to charm any traveler who sets their foot here. With 28 states, 8 union territories, 22 official languages, 19,500 mother tongues spoken, we surely can overwhelm anyone. One of the prime attractions to many world leaders, celebrities, and all kinds of travelers, India is the home to spirituality. We have approximately 33 million gods and goddesses in the Hindu pantheon for approximately 1.3 billion population. They say, if you seek, you shall find, and that is what defines India. Of course, this pandemic has taught us more than ever that health is wealth. And amongst many things, India has also gifted the world the science of yoga. This is something that many of us have incorporated in our daily lives. Our culture and tradition are best experienced in the deep-rooted classical music, diverse range of cinema, and of course, in the beauty of colorfully woven threads. With this brief introduction into India's diverse attractions, let us proceed towards the land of pristine wilderness, history, culture, tribal traditions. This is a central part of the country, a region which has deep rooted affection. So, without further delay, let's begin with the list of states that we will cover today in the Central Belt. This being a tourism and hospitality centric series of webinars, we have chosen these places according to the defining grounds of both the industries. And hence, we will be covering Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh in the next 30 minutes. Over to my colleagues to take us through these lands.
Often referred as the heart of incredible India, with a great historic past, a unique culture, good food, abode of wildlife, makes Madhya Pradesh a must-visit tourist destination. When we think of planning a trip or accessibility, connectivity plays an important role. Be rest assured that the state is very well connected with all three modes of transportation, be it rail, road, or flights. Madhya Pradesh also happens to be the second largest state by area. Talking about the history and heritage, the state has sites dating back to ancient times. The transition of power throughout the history is a saga filled with beautiful anecdotes, stories, and legacy. Prominent figures like Raja Bhoj, Devi Ahilyabai Holkar, Begums, Sindhyas, Chandelas, Bundelas all have ruled and have contributed to the essence of the state. The state tops the list when you think of travel and tourism, with multiple World UNESCO Heritage Sites, mesmerizing landscapes, vast wilderness, tribal tradition, and communities. Truly makes the state the heart of incredible India. Madhya Pradesh has been blessed with all kinds of experiences. It has something for everyone, from a heritage walk to a spiritual connection to a wildlife getaway. A unique experience which truly gets the visitor spellbound is the woven tradition in the form of its textile trails. But the list of experiences doesn't stop here. One thing that lets us truly familiarize ourselves with a culture is food. And when you're traveling across the state, you cannot miss the local delicacies. Food walks in some of the cities are a must do. Beautiful landscape also offers an opportunity to indulge in adventure activities like rafting, trekking, camping, and much more. Last but not the least, interactions with local in today's emerging tourism world are one of the most popular and rewarding experiences that can also be enjoyed in the state. On the slide, we have some of the glimpses of various experiences that are available, from carvings on a monument to wildlife safaris to woven tradition of Chanderi or Maheshwar to the heritage walks in multiple cities. Moving on, the next slide, we have encapsulated the options in food, museum, adventure activities, rural engagements that you can explore and enjoy while you are in Madhya Pradesh, giving us an insight into plethora of offerings that the state has to offer. The amalgamation of influences in history, heritage, art, architecture provides the state a distinct character. We are going to talk about some of the most prominent cities of the state. Let's begin with Bhopal, the capital city, also known as the City of Lakes. It has unique attractions and a fascinating history, from tribal museum to the grand Tajul Masajid, to the medieval Gohar Mahal, to the mouth-watering delicacies. The city has a lot to offer. From Bhopal, if you're thinking of doing a day excursion, then cities like Sanchi, Vidisha, and Bhimbetka are perfect getaways. Explore Sanchi for its UNESCO heritage, Bhimbetka for its prehistoric cave painting. Moving from the capital city to the commercial and the food capital of Madhya Pradesh, it is the city of Indore. Famous for snacks and street foods, this city is dotted with historic sites like Rajwada Palace, Lal Bagh Palace, and also has some offbeat sites like Krishnapura Chhatri and the residency area. If you're looking for a great mix of everything, then make sure that you visit the city of Indore. The next stop on our journey is a small town known for picturesque getaways. This place is renowned for its fabric. Yes, this is the town of Chanderi. Chanderi's silk, skillful artisans have made the fabric globally famous. The city is also blessed with places like Badal Mahal, Kati Ghati, and Chanderi Fort. From one town to another, once the erstwhile capital of Bundela kings, the town of Orcha is famous for adventure activities and architecture. The Orcha fort, intricate temples, and exquisite cenotaph architecture beacons you to this city. Taking our journey forward, we have now reached the city of Jabalpur, known as the cultural capital of the state. Famous for marble craftsmanship and breathtaking Dhuadhar Falls of Beda Ghat, Burgi Dam, Madan Mahal Fort, and the Balancing Rocks are some of the areas which are very famous with the locals and travelers. The next place does not need any introduction. Famous for temple architecture and a home to UNESCO World Heritage Site, Khajuraho has attracted tourists over the years and left them awestruck with the artistic sculpture work being chiseled on the temple wall. The next stop on the list is the city of Mandu or Mandav. It is situated about an hour and a half away from the city of Indore. The place retains much of its aura in the splendid backdrop of the romantic story of Baz Bahadur and Rani Roopmati. Folk tales and stories come to life when you visit places like Jaz Mahal, Hindola Mahal, Jami Masjid, or Rani Roopmati's pavilion. The next destination is a gem in the crown of the state and is also synonymous to the women leaders of the medieval time. The city of Maheshwar has etched its name in the history of state. Dedicated to one of the Hindu gods, Lord Shiva, exploration of this city leads you to the soul stirring moments. A prominent attraction of this city would be the Ahilya Fort. Moving to the last set of the prominent cities, now we are heading to Pachmadi. It is also known as Queen of Satpura. Endowed with natural beauty and panoramic views, the city has its connection with mythology. From Pandav caves to Begum Palace and much more. The famous Satpura Tiger Reserve and Biosphere is just a few kilometers away from this place. After experiencing the wildlife of Satpura, we now head to a city which has many stories, folklore, music, myths, and legends to share with us. It is the city of Gwalior. From the magnificent Gwalior fort to the glimpses of opulence in Jaivilas Palace Museum and many more sites give away the nuances of the cultural legacy of the city. Last but not the least, a small town situated on the banks of river Tapti, Burhanpur. The town has its eternal connection with the romantic tale of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz. The city became the burial ground for the queen before she was moved to Agra. From Asirgarh fort to the spiritual places, the city has a very unique flavor to its culture and tradition. In the next three slides, we have captured some of the most beautiful glimpses of all the cities that we spoke about. To begin with, you have the cities of Indore, Bhopal, and Gwalior. Some of the places that you cannot miss while you visit these cities are Tajul Masajid, the Gwalior Fort, Lal Bagh Palace. On the next slide, we have the glimpses of Sanchi Stupa, Bhimbetka caves, Orcha, and interesting woven patterns that the state has to offer. Moving on to the next slide, the last set of glimpses are from Jabalpur, Khajuraho, Mandu, and Maheshwar. All these sites can simply keep you mesmerized for hours. From the state experiences and glimpses, it is time to take a sneak peek into the delicious offerings of the state. Food is synonymous to the identity of the state. From street food to snacks to sweets and dessert, the state has elaborate food gullies that offer delicious food. But most famous food item, and please do not miss to try the poha and jalebi when you reach Madhya Pradesh. From Sarafa Bazaar to Chatore Gali to Fuara Market, a plethora of food options that can spoil you for a choice. The food items is a long and a never ending list. Some of the most popular food items are mentioned on the screen. The last section of Madhya Pradesh would be the festivals and fairs, which are an integral part of exploring culture. The state of Madhya Pradesh has a mix of festival which amplifies emotional experiences. Plan your visit during these festivals to soak yourself in colorful cultural anecdotes. To sum up this journey through the state would be very difficult, but it can be said that the heart of this country has a lot to offer. When you plan a visit, keep some extra days so that you can truly enjoy the essence of Madhya Pradesh. It's time that we part our ways with Madhya Pradesh and move ahead. Over to Himanshu to take us through another journey from central India.
Welcome to the land full of surprises, Chhattisgarh. In the next few slides, we shall explore the state and its beautiful natural landscapes that has in store for all of you. When it comes to the connectivity, the state has a good network of roadways, rail, and a growing network of flights too. The state is interestingly surrounded by 7 other states, namely Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Telangana. The name Chhattisgarh literally means 36 forts in English. Talking about history, the state has its association with Kosala dynasty, and it was ruled by multiple empires as mentioned on the slide. The state officially originated as a new state in the year 2000. Since then, Chhattisgarh has offered rich touristic experience from historic sites to insights into tribal communities. Located in central India, Chhattisgarh is endowed with rich cultural heritage and attractive natural diversity, full of ancient monuments, rare wildlife species, carved temples, Buddhist sites, palaces, waterfalls, caves, rock paintings, and hill plateaus. Chhattisgarh is beauty to behold. In Chhattisgarh, delve deeper to connect with the pulsating fabric of the state. The state has something for everyone from tourists to adventure enthusiasts. The state has carved a niche for itself when it comes to a long legacy of craftsmanship. The unending wilderness and opportunity to connect with untouched nature is a unique offering of the state. As the state is blessed with natural resources, it makes a perfect destination for active immersive. Unique tradition brings a sustainable and ecological way of living, which entails all aspects of life. Immerse and understand the way of living with rural interactions. With untouched screen covers, wildlife experiences are a must when you visit the state. The next few slides have a few glimpses of the chosen attractions. Immerse yourself in different experiences like the crafts of the region, skilled artistry. The state is famous for metal crafts, paintings, amazing bamboo work, wood carvings, bell metal handicrafts, tribal jewelry, and much more. Now, it's time to throw some light on the cities that attracts tourists along the globe. The place first on the list is Sirpur, a village located on the banks of Mahanadi River. Sirpur is a treasure trove excavated by archaeologists showcasing the diverse temple architecture and Buddhist viharas. Next on our list are places like Bastar, Manpat, and Raipur. All of these three places have their own specialities. For example, Bastar district specializes in the preparation of their items, form, dokra, and unique woodcraft styles. Manpat has beautiful offerings of green pastures and deep valley breathtaking waterfalls, dense forests, and untouched rivulets. Raipur, being the capital city, has the Mahant Ghasidas Memorial Museum, Dudadari Monastery, and the largest statue of Swami Vivekanand located on the Buddha Talab. Moving on to our next set of cities, we have Rajim, Ratanpur, and Matkudweep. All the three cities are known for their spiritual offerings. Rajim is known for the biggest spiritual extravaganza, that is Kumbh Mela of Chhattisgarh. Ratanpur and Matkudweep are famous for their temples and scenic beauties. This is a special slide for us as we speak about Walk with Tribe. This is an exclusive tourism initiative by India City Walks. Our Central India theme would be incomplete without tribes of region. Walk with Tribe is an initiative dedicated to the tribes, not just of a particular region, but across the expanse of India. This initiative was undertaken to promote tribal tourism and enhance interpretation of the communities. The tribes have their unique ways of survival, their understanding of nature and natural resources. On this experience, one gets to interact close to the community and and experience of everyday life. From the different cities and tribal communities, we are now moving on to the most anticipated segment of Chhattisgarh experience. Yes, this slide and the next slide showcases some of the culinary delights like chapta chutney. This is an exotic delicacy made up of red ants and their eggs. Moving on to the next slide, my favorite is Tilgur. This is a famous sweet of Chhattisgarh made up of a jaggery and roasted sesame seeds. When you visit the state, please also try kurma, bafuri, and dal piti, which is mentioned on the slide. If you are a little more adventurous, you can also try the local drink, which is mahua. Finally, to our last segment on celebrating Chhattisgarh, we have the following festivals. The two of the most famous festivals of the region are Sirpur Dance and Music Festival and the Bastar Dussehra, which is celebrated for long 75 days. Both Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh have unique offerings, immersive experiences, and cultural engagements, which awaits visitor to explore. With this, I request Nidhi ma'am to carry forward with the next segment of our webinar.
Thank you so much, Shravan and Himanshu, for taking us to the heartland of India. I must mention here that both Shravan and Himanshu are very closely knit with the central part of the country. Shravan is from Madhya Pradesh and is currently delivering this session from his hometown, Indore. And Himanshu started his tourism career with Chhattisgarh being the first state of his exploration. The unexplored terrains, the artistic abodes, and the exquisite textiles surely leaves one looking for more. What we have showcased today is just in a nutshell the range of offerings both Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh have for the travelers. To understand a little more about the region, we have our expert panelists with whom we shall now start our second segment, which is the panel discussion. It gives me immense joy and pleasure to introduce our panelists for today. I'm going to start with our first panelist, Ms. Sonia Meena. She is the coveted IS officer, currently the additional managing director, Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board. I apologize for the earlier mistake. And Ms. Meena completed her higher education from Delhi and qualified the National Eligibility Test with Junior Research Fellowship. She was then selected for the Indian Administrative Services. She has held many notable positions within the state of Madhya Pradesh. She has received the Narayani Namha Award by ETV on International Women's Day 2017. Recently, she received the National Water Award for Water Conservation Campaign as CEO Zilla Parishad Morena by Ministry of Water Resources, Government of India in 2019. I welcome her on board today. I welcome you, ma'am. Mr. Gaurav Rege, he's the General Manager, Jahanuma Hotels. He's our second panelist for today. With an experience of 20 years and having worked with reputed hotels across the country, such as the Oberoi Hotels, Ananda in the Himalayas, the Leela, and more, Gaurav has been the General Manager of Jahanuma Hotels, Palace Hotel, Bhopal from 2015. The multi-award-winning hotel is a prominent name in the Central India's hospitality space. Welcome, Gaurav. And our third panelist for today, I always say third, but not the least, the last but not the least, is Mr. Ramakrishnan Kongala. He's the Assistant Professor, Indian Institute of Travel and Tourism Management. Mr. Kongala is an Assistant Professor and he's currently based in Gwalior. He's a photographer and photoshopper working for the Reclaim Temples movement. He's active on social media, extensively writing on temple architecture and their iconography. I welcome once again all our panelists, and I request my co-host to start with a question and answer discussion, please.
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi. Every time after the presentations, I'm just out of words to express all the things India has to showcase to the world. I think I'll start with the questions. My first question is to Ms. Sonia. Madhya Pradesh is the heart of the nation with a huge range of diversity in the past COVID-19 world. What are plans to create attractions for lesser known places? And also, do you think Madhya Pradesh will attract more tourists than ever?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Nidhi. To answer your question, Mr. Shamin, COVID-19 has definitely changed. It has altered the landscape of the travel and tourism industry completely. It is an unprecedented situation, and all of us are coming to terms with it as the situation is evolving over the last few months. And the million-dollar question really is when the industry is going to see the revival, when are things going to change? We're talking about the new normal. We're talking about starting new, thinking of innovative ways in which we can restart business or offer services of different kinds or experiences of different kinds to the travelers and tourists, and how best can we attract them and how best can we bring them back to our tourist destinations. This is very important because a lot of businesses, a lot of employment, a lot of the livelihood of several communities depends on this. The local economy of several destinations, cities, and countries depends on this. And tourism for many countries and cities has been the mainstay. And as far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned, the potential of tourism to be able to generate employment and bring prosperity for the communities and the local population of a particular destination, in addition to conservation of heritage and promotion of the culture of the state, is something that has occupied, has, is a priority as far as policy and as far as the efforts of the government are concerned. So for us right now, a few things that we have tried to work on as far as promoting Madhya Pradesh tourism and keeping the visibility of the state and the tourist destinations of the state high are one is the promotional campaign called Intezar Aapka that we started, which was in the month of June. And as the national parks reopened with adequate safety protocols in place, and as the ASI also gave its go ahead for opening the various monuments, the Intezar Aapka campaign was much appreciated, it was much talked about. So to maintain the visibility of Madhya Pradesh in popular, in the minds of the travelers, in the popular kind of conversations is very important for us. The other campaign that we have started now is called Buffer Mein Safar. This is in order to promote the buffer areas of our national parks. Madhya Pradesh is known as the tiger state of the country. It has the highest number of tigers, as well as has 11 national parks and 24 wildlife sanctuaries. However, during the monsoon season, the national parks close. But what we are trying to tell the travelers is that even when the national parks are closed, there's a lot of potential of spotting, of exploring wildlife, those who are interested in birding. There's a lot of potential in those terms also, and which is why Buffer Mein Safar is a campaign which we had started last year. And we are promoting this again this year in the hope that people would like to come out of their houses after such a long period of being confined to their houses and explore the buffer areas of the national parks, which are still open. It is anybody who has visited Madhya Pradesh and come to the national parks also know that as far as the national parks are concerned, there are, in terms of amenities and facilities, there are a lot of the services that are available are very good. In addition to various other activities like nature walks and trails and a village safari, trying out the local cuisine of the tribal areas, which is where most of the national parks are situated. Other than this, monsoon tourism is something that we are focusing on. Another hashtag on our social media handles that you would see right now is called MP Monsoon Magic. So since the state, about 32% of the land area of the state is covered by forest, um, the state just comes alive in the monsoon season, and it's a treat for nature lovers. And it's a perfect time to visit, especially some of our destinations like Mandu, Pachmadi, Amarkantak are very popular destinations during the monsoon season.
Thank you, Ms. Sonia. It was very insightful. My next question is to Mr. Gaurav. You're the general manager of Jihanuma Hotels, the most beautiful and prestigious hotel in Bhopal. What is your personal take on the hospitality revival strategy for hotels in smaller destinations? As we see in the metro cities, many big brands of hotels like Oberoi, Taj have diversified to food sector.
Okay. Thank you, Shameen. Nidhi, thank you for having me on this panel. But before I really start, one thing that I just want to add on to what Ms. Meena mentioned. Intezar Aapka, the campaign by MP Tourism, is a brilliant campaign. This is something that all of us should follow. MP Tourism is one of the few state tourism boards which is very, very active. In fact, they've recently crossed the milestone of more than 100,000 followers on Instagram. And I think for a state government body, that's a fabulous feat to have achieved. So one is, many congratulations to the State Tourism Board. They are really at it. And if we are, or I represent a hotel body which is in the state of Madhya Pradesh, a lot of our success is also attributed to the hard work that there are people like Sonia Meena or her colleagues in the tourism department have been putting in. Now, when you talk to me as a hotel manager for what is it that we are doing, how is it that we are coping with this crisis, I think let's face it, this is a difficult time for all of us. For everyone who's associated with travel and hospitality or tourism, this is uncharted waters. These are uncharted waters. No one knew what was happening. So I think what we have done to a certain extent, it has been successful, is that we are focusing on our basics. It's not some new trick that we've removed off our sleeve. We are just focusing on our basics. And I think the key to survive right now is to be consistent. You can't be, coming up with newer and newer ideas on a daily basis. But yes, there are basic things that we all need to focus on. Currently, hygiene and sanitization and guest safety is something which is, or the perception of safety is what clients are giving highest priority to. I think the entire focus of our hotels is safety first. And of course, the legendary hospitality, like we say, but that the hotels or the Januma group has been known for over the years, that goes without saying. We are not reinventing the wheel. The market segments are the very same. So when I'm surprised when some of my colleagues within the industry say that, that we've completely discovered the takeaway business. I'm sure that was always there. Maybe the percentage of revenue that you could generate out of takeaways was not as high earlier. I would say that the market segments are the same. It might be a client has moved from segment A to segment B, but nothing new really has happened. This time, like I said, is tough for absolutely everyone. As long as we all recognize it and talk about it, and I think not take any major decisions. Discounting, in my opinion, I'd like to say it's a personal opinion, something that a lot of people within my team also support. Discounting is not the way to go. Discounting is never going to lead to an increase business volume. The only thing that it will do or might do is reduce your earnings. So if we can maintain the price, if we can just hold on to the price, but continue and support the services and focus on what is the priority right now for everyone in the market, which is hygiene and safety. I think we should overcome this difficult time soon. And of course, a lot goes on with the way government tourism policies are framed. Currently, people don't know what to expect when they travel. I mean, I still get calls from people who are in, I got a call just yesterday from somebody in Delhi saying that, Gaurav, if I am to travel to Bhopal, what is there a quarantine that I have to face? What is the kind of paperwork that people will be asking at the airport? Will your hotel be asking for a COVID negative certificate? So all till the time that these concerns of travelers are not laid to rest, I don't see tourism picking up in a big way. But I'm sure, like I started my talk, with the kind of efforts that all of us are putting in, the panel members included, I'm sure this time should be behind us soon. Let's just hold strong, and I'm sure it's just a matter of time that we'll come out of it.
You're very right, Mr. Gora. It's just a matter of time. My third question is to Mr. Ramakrishna. As an academic in the field of tourism, you interact with young minds all the time. In present scenario, where the pandemic had exposed the uncertainties of tourism industry, do you think it will impact the interest of students in the future?
Yeah, a warm Sandhya Vandan to all the panelists here. And thanks Nidhi ma'am for having me on the panel. And thank you Shamim for the question. So in this short period, let me dissect the question that you have asked me. One important thing is, because I interact with the students a lot, there are three categories of students I come across always. One, the first category who do a lot of research on what tourism is and they join the tourism education. And the second category is they accidentally join, but they fall in love with tourism. And we have that third category where they join tourism accidentally, but then they just pursue a course for the sake of pursuing it. Now, all these students, the three category of students, what do they do is they again join three different aspects of tourism. One is either they join the industry directly after the course, after the education is done. And the second, they join the academics. And then third, what do they do is they become entrepreneurs. So now the one who is into academics is less affected due to this pandemic situation. And the next two categories who are into industry and then working with like who are the entrepreneurs, they're little bit more affected. That is again a different issue. Now coming to the students role, like whether they are in industry or whether they are not into, their entrepreneurs or their academics. Now no doubt there is some effect of it, but then like we have to let me put some positive aspect of this thing. Now they are trying a lot. How they sat down in the pandemic and they started working on their skills. Why? Because they're still in a hope that tourism will come back with such okay flying colors that they will pick up tourism okay the industry and its okay energy very fast. And then what are they doing? Like they are working on the heritage that is in and around, and they are designing the heritage walks. Then they are okay searching their laptops and they are finding out old video clippings and they are becoming YouTubers. And then they are registering these short-term courses and they are becoming extra skilled in the itinerary preparation, costing, etc. And you do not believe, under me there are 10 students who are voluntarily doing internship. And when I say the topics of their internships, you will be surprised. The topic is connecting the tribal destinations in Madhya Pradesh and making an itinerary out of it. Like we have not given them idea, like they themselves, in the sense our students. And then whom are they interacting with? They are interacting with the teachers and professors. So the professors and the teachers interaction is playing a great role in keeping their momentum in such a way that when the tourism comes back, they will pick up with the same energy. That is one. I would like to say, like uh, these all category of students and all the people, like they very well know, like when other sectors were not doing well, the tourism was one good sector that was providing them jobs. They have seen it okay with their eyes. And the next thing is when they join industry, like in comparison to other sectors, they get a very good leads. For example, within a year I have seen my own students becoming team leads, tour leads. Okay. And then one example we have here itself, our Shravan, a proud alumni of IITTM. So they have seen all these situations through their life, and that is the reason even today, even though there is a back step, back foot, they are very confident that okay, same good things will happen, and they are getting themselves ready, skilling themselves ready to pick up the energy that tourism will come back with.
Thank you so much for that, Rama sir. I must mention the fact that when you talk about upskilling and you talk about the mentorship of professors and the students, I would love to mention the fact that there is a mentorship that is available even in the industry, and people like us would love to nurture entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs for the
Yes.
kind of work that they're doing. So very happy to help in that front as well. With that, I'm going to move on to the second question to Sonia ma'am. And ma'am, you mentioned extensively about the awareness campaigns that are that Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board is running, and it's fantastic to hear about them. We understand that the world will still take time to open. When we're talking about the international tourists coming in, that's going to take some time. With the tourism board now focusing on, will the tourism board be focusing more on domestic destinations? And if yes, what are your focus cities in phase one? Because Madhya Pradesh is, such a big state. What would be your phased approach on the destinations?
Um, I would like to say that actually domestic tourism has always been the mainstay of Madhya Pradesh tourism. Madhya Pradesh being a landlocked state, it is surrounded by several big states, on all its boundaries. And we are very close to Gujarat and Maharashtra, which are states which have which have people who travel a lot, who like traveling, Gujaratis and people from Maharashtra as well. So for Madhya Pradesh, I mean, if I were to give a statistic, if I were to give a figure, the domestic tourist arrivals have been 8.87 crores last year, as compared to the domestic tourist arrivals in the previous year, which were 8.39 crores. So in any case, we are seeing a growth as far as domestic tourism is concerned, and we will continue to focus on that. Of course, we will not compromise on our international marketing efforts, because we have been able to create a presence for Madhya Pradesh, an awareness about Madhya Pradesh among international travel agents and tour operators by our continuous participation in various international travel exhibitions and marts. And we plan to continue that participation as and when the situation improves and all these events are going to be organized again and international travel reopens, etc., etc. However, domestic tourism is going to be the path ahead, given the situation. And of course, we all know that people are preferring to travel in their own vehicles. We know that people are preferring weekend, getaways, short trips, staycations. Things of those kinds are what are popular right now. The cities that we are focusing on are primarily Nagpur. Nagpur for us is anyway a very big source market. And we have developed around 16 new interstate itineraries, which we're trying to popularize among various stakeholders, our travel agents, tour operators, putting it out on social media and through digital marketing efforts. So Nagpur is an important source market, and we are going to continue our marketing and publicity efforts in this city. We are trying to target new cities like Ahmedabad and Varanasi and make them popular among travelers, because around Ahmedabad, in the western side of Madhya Pradesh, we have places like Mandu. We have the Hinglaj Resort, by the Gandhi Sagar Dam, basically. There's this huge water reservoir of the Gandhi Sagar Dam where we have a boat club, where there's the Hinglaj Fort. There are several other Buddhist sites also. People can visit Mandu, people can visit Omkareshwar and Maheshwar in the western side of Madhya Pradesh by road from Ahmedabad. We are also trying to make an itinerary from Varanasi popular. So we're trying to focus on travelers in Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. Agra is another source market that we are going to focus on, and which needs to be worked on because we already have a lot of tourists who come to Agra, given the Golden Triangle, Delhi, Jaipur, and Agra. And it's very important for us to tap that already existing itinerary and get people into Madhya Pradesh to places like Gwalior, Ocha, Chanderi, etc. So these are the new cities that we are trying to focus on. Raipur is another city that we are trying to promote as far as interstate road travel is concerned, because it connects you to all the wildlife, the area of Madhya Pradesh, the whole wildlife zone of Madhya Pradesh. So these will be the few cities that we are going to promote Madhya Pradesh in the coming few months at least.
Thank you so much for that. It's really good to know that there is a very structured format of looking at the cities and looking at the way they are promoted and how that interstate travel gets a boost. So thank you for sharing that with us, ma'am. I move on to my next question, and this is to Gaurav. Gaurav, what are the immediate measures that you and your staff have ensured to win back the customers to the hotel? We talk a lot about trust issues. We talk a lot about how to build back that trust and how to gain that customer back. So what are the measures that you and your team are taking?
I think the essence is honesty. That is what I think the wonderful people that I work with, that's what they're really trying to portray. I'm not talking about asking for business from our customers. I'm asking, or the team is trying to keep in connect with the people. So it is not, typically what hotels do is we end up doing mass mailing, or we end up sending, 500 WhatsApp messages. I think that is not really what, as a hotel or as a business, we are trying to do. One of my managers, he raised a very important thing, very important concern, is that guests will not respond to a message from an unknown source, which is a fact that all of us know. So that fact is what we've worked around. So, my colleague, in fact, all of us are involved in selling right now. They're picking up the phone, calling the person, introducing themselves. And after that basic initial call, they're sending maybe a WhatsApp image on a menu. It might be a takeaway item or whatever, what have we not. And that has given us, I will not say it's been very, very successful, because like I mentioned initially, all of us are currently, going through troubled waters. So, but still, that is something that has been appreciated by our clients. Other measures, such as being extremely transparent with everyone who's coming in through the doors of the hotel. We've made it, just like the government has mandated us, we've made it compulsory that every guest who comes in has to have a mask. They have to have, the temperatures taken. We are keeping a record of mobile numbers of not almost, each and every person who's walked in through our doors from the time that we've opened. We've gone a step further with temperatures and oxygen and pulse readings of our staff displayed in prominent locations in each food outlet, or in fact, even at the entrance of the hotel. These are just confidence building measures that we hope our clients appreciate, and in time that converts into business. That's it.
Yes, I must mention that I did get a call from the front desk yesterday talking about how I should come back to the hotel soon. I have some of the best.
Just to say that it's working then.
It definitely is working, because I did get a call yesterday, and I must mention this without telling you. I'm telling you, I'm confronting the fact that I did, and confirming the fact that I did get that call yesterday. So somewhere it's going to work, and it is working, I feel. So thank you for sharing that with us. That's a good cue for a lot of hoteliers who are thinking on the same lines to say, how do we get back? So that's great for everyone to know. My next question, I'm going to move on to Rama sir. And Rama sir, you have an expertise in the field of iconography and temple architecture. Please share with us some of the must-visit places where one should go and see and experience the treasures of temple architecture.
Yeah. First of all, my heart fills with a lot of pride that I'm sitting in a place which has motivated the planning of the Lutyens Delhi, because the two gems of the Delhi, the Rashtrapati Bhavan and Parliament, both are inspired from the heritage structures that are there in Madhya Bharat. The central dome of Rashtrapati Bhavan itself is inspired from the Sanchi Stupa, where this Herbert Baker and Lutyens have come to this Madhya Bharat, because which was very near to Delhi, and they have studied a lot the structures that are in and around, and they have designed in such a manner. And then the other building which has inspired the Parliament is this Chausat Yogini temple that is there nearby Gwalior. So when we have to understand, especially because Madhya Bharat is little towards the north, and we find Nagara style of temples a lot in Madhya Bharat. Maybe because once upon a time this was under the different rulers like Guptas and Kalchuris, etc. And we find excellent group of temples, western group of temples in Khajuraho, and also equally the eastern group of temples. People who visit Khajuraho, they only pay attention to western group of temples, but then they never visit the eastern group of temples. Okay, that is their least priority, but then they themselves are a treasure in themselves. And then we visit Sanchi, no doubt, to understand, because Sanchi is an excellent place for understanding Buddhist architecture and iconography. But then if you go 2 or 3 kilometers radius around Sanchi, the places like Vidisha, etc., you have a wonderful sculptural beauty. And then that is where actually most of the artifacts and handicrafts, okay, artifacts and antiquities that you see in most of the museums in North India, they all come from the central India, Madhya Bharat. And wherever you go to the museums of Mathura or Delhi, you always find this special word Madhya Bharat. And that is where what we are talking about today. And places, small places like Aaron, which is there in Sagar district, okay, you'll be surprised, because I'm going little okay, away from the urban destinations. Places like Aaron, which is a wonderful destination, and even today, these such okay, excellent places which are rich in architecture and iconography are not visited by us. Neither they are added to the prime itinerary. Itineraries of okay, what we generally discuss about. So I feel places like Aaron, places like Bateshwar group of temples that are there in nearby Gwalior, then the places especially that are there in and around Chanderi, wonderful places, excellent. The only one thing is that we have to come out of that impression of rock structures, and then have to see how our ancestors have kept a soul into these structures, and they have molded them. And even today, such moldings are very difficult to bring on even on gold and silver, and they have done it. So the few places, 2-3 I have mentioned, but then these are must visit places, and to understand especially the heritage of Madhya Bharat. Excellent places.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know the lesser known places are something that all of us need to explore. And I think that's where domestic tourism will also pick up quite a bit, because we ourselves haven't experienced our own country, and we'd love the whole world to come and explore it with us. Just in the interest of time, I request all the panelists to share their closing notes, and we'll go in the same order. And I request Sonia ma'am to share her closing notes with the audience first, please. So if Sonia ma'am is not around, Gaurav, if you'd like to go first for your closing notes, please.
You know, I'm going to look at every opportunity as one to increase business. So for everyone who's listening in, if you've not traveled to Madhya Pradesh, this is a destination. I'm not just talking about a city or a hotel, but this is a state that you have to travel to. I'll give you one very simple example. If there is anyone from Chennai or Bangalore or Mumbai or Delhi, there is no concept of traffic in Bhopal. So you can go into any place and you can find parking within the first 15 seconds. So I think, for someone who's stayed in a city like Mumbai or Pune, this is, this really makes a big, big difference. Logistics within the state, and I'll say within the state, are extremely simple. To move from one part of the city to another, it does not take you more than 15 minutes. So you can, you can combine a lot of leisure and your work-related trips from, making Bhopal or Indore your hubs. You can spend half a day in your office work and still have a productive half a day to go around the city for leisure-related activities. Indians typically end up looking at, the moment we talk about a vacation or where can we go for a holiday, Goa is a by default choice. But then I ask you, what is the reason for selecting a city, destination like Goa? Somebody might say fish, somebody might say seaside, but let's be honest. How many times have we ourselves entered the water or gone into the beaches inside the water? So if that is not something that you're really going to Goa for, maybe you should look at the heart of Central India. Come down, experience it. Literally, like we say, intezar aapka.
Thank you for sharing that, Gaurav. Sonia ma'am, if you could share your closing notes with the audience, please. Sorry, ma'am, you're on mute.
I would just like to say that Madhya Pradesh is waiting for its tourists and travelers to come again and explore this ancient and pristine land. It's an offbeat destination, and I think it's perfect for a post-COVID-19 visit. I think the USP of Madhya Pradesh is that it's a very less crowded and commercialized area. Plus, there's so much forest that you have natural social distancing. Of course, those who have been to Madhya Pradesh will vouch for the fact that it's a very warm and welcoming state. And I'm sure tourists will, the tourists who have been to Madhya Pradesh will remember and will have very fond memories of the state. And I'm sure with our partners like Mr. Rege, we are trying very hard that we provide very safe and comfortable experience to our tourists and travelers. And I just welcome all the travelers to visit Madhya Pradesh again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Rama sir, your closing notes, please.
Yeah. Central India is actually going to be going to play a central part of India's tourism. Why? Because you are very much aware. Recently, Government of India, Niti Aayog has come out with a report improving heritage management in India, which you are really part of and you must have gone through.
Yes.
And after 70 years, India has realized, and the Government of India has realized that, okay, we have neglected our heritage a lot. And India, now government is also planning to come up with the Indian Institute of Heritage Management, also a separate institute for heritage studies. So what is the beauty of Central India is it has been part of almost all the dynasties that have ruled in and around. They have been part of Rashtrakutas, they have been part of Shatavahanas, they have been part of Guptas, they have been part of all the Rajput dynasties like Chandelas, Bundelas, Pratiharas. So all these dynasties, they have contributed a lot to Central India. And Central India, every 50 kilometers you travel, you have a heritage monument and a rich heritage present in and around. So keeping Niti Aayog's report in mind and how they are going to come up, because when you read the report, we understand what is the zeal of government, the present government to improve heritage in India. So if that is kept in mind, I am very sure the heritage of Central Madhya Bharat will be brought onto limelight. And this is going to play a major role in turning the face of Madhya Bharat's tourism.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I have to thank all our panelists, our esteemed panelists today, for sparing their time and joining us and sharing such insightful information about Central India with all of us. In the interest of time, we will have to close the session today, but I must mention once again, thank you, our panelists and every one of you, and look forward to you joining us for our upcoming session of South India, covering new destinations and experiences. The information will be available on SATA Facebook page as well as India City Walks Facebook page. Do stay connected and stay safe. On behalf of SATA and India City Walks, this is Shaman and Nidhi thanking you for your presence and thanking you for watching us today. Good day.